Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for being here tonight. My name is Bob Mortis. I'm the Director of Performing Arts at Munson Williams Proctor Arts Institute. And I'm here tonight in place of Barbara Kane, who put all of this together but couldn't be here tonight. Between Barbara Kane and Tabo, they have taken care of every detail for this event, and I'm just stepping in at the last minute to help out a bit. So everything you enjoy about tonight is all to the credit of Barbara and Tabo. Everything that goes wrong, that's my fault. We're gonna have a great time. So, in case you need to know, the restrooms are down one level. The men's room is on this side at the bottom of the stairs, and the ladies' room is on this side. We have Superofficial coffee from Rome, New York in the back of the house. Their menus are on the table. Originally, we were supposed to have Lizzy's Cupcakery here to sell their wares, but unfortunately they had a family emergency and couldn't be here, but they were kind enough to send some complimentary treats for you all to enjoy on the table in the back. Please help yourself to those cupcakes and cookies. I want to thank our volunteers, Mary Joan and Janice, for being here tonight. They've been a great help. And all of this is in support of the Leslie Dill Wilderness Sizzles Around Me exhibition, which is open for your enjoyment tonight if you'd like to wander through that as well. That's sponsored by Stephen and Dorian Fratelli in memory of Dolores Y. Fratelli and Linda and Alan Vincent. So that's all I have to say tonight. I would like to bring on your host for the evening, the creative and organizing force of Nomadic Voices. Please welcome Tabo Bo.
Hello everybody, how y'all doing? That's good to hear. It's been a great turnout. First I want to introduce myself as Tabo. I am the founder, the creator behind Nomadic Voices. Our story started 3 summers ago when we hosted open mic nights at parks. It was my first time I started writing poems, and I realized that I wanted to share it with people, and because of the situation during the pandemic, there weren't any places open, so we invited a bunch of my friends at parks, and we started hosting these open mic nights, and every week or so, we would go to a different park, and that's where Nomadic Voices was born. And today, almost 3 years later, we are now at Munson Williams hosting this beautiful poetry night with so many different poetic styles and so many different diverse backgrounds. So I'm so excited and nervous at the same time. So, thank you. So, this is how the event is going to go. Every poet is going to get about 5 to 7 minutes, no more than that, but it could be less than that if you feel free to do so. And I am going to be reading the next 5 poets throughout the event, so I'll be saying who's next, plus the 4 others, just so it could keep everybody on their toes and when you're coming next and all that. So, but I have been talking to other poets earlier when their lineup would be. And if someone is not presently called at that time, we will wait for them, not wait for them right then and there, but if they do come later, and if we do have time at the end, I would love for anybody to speak. So there's also a newsletter sign-up sheet, and as well as an open mic sign-up sheet there with those 2 ladies. Say hi. Right there. You guys can sign up for Nomadic Voices newsletters for more future events with us, as well as the open mic. We do have about, I think, 12, 13 set poets in the main lineup, but the open mic will be open to everybody else after that. So enjoy while that's happening. There's also a recording right there. I'm going to be asking a lot of the poets if we are able to use the video content for content purposes. We haven't posted a lot of content on our Nomadic Voices YouTube page, so if you guys are willing to help us and accept that, that would be great, because I know I'll probably do that. But without further ado, I will start the night with reading a couple of my poems. And like I said, my style is more spoken word poetry based, so like more performative, more out there. But there's like traditional poets out there. There's hip hop poets. There's so many poets. I'm sorry. I'm getting way too ahead of myself. I'm a little excited, but my style is spoken word. And my first poem I will be reading is titled "Correct." And I've recited this piece a decent amount of times, but I want to recite it again, just so I can show y'all what my background is, okay? When I was a kid, I used to be ashamed of where I was from. I used to tell people I was Thai because I was born in Thailand, but it was a refugee camp. And I used to hate the idea of telling people I was from Burma because my parents had to run from there. But when I tell people I'm Korean, they say, oh, you from Korea. Then the conversation usually continue on longer than it should have because now I'm explaining where I'm from. But you see, your ignorance made me shameful. Driven by annoyance, I stopped informing others. But no more. No more shame. No more embarrassment of my own name. No more those times when my mom called me in school and I would refuse to speak our language because the kids will make fun of me. And I go home and I think to myself, why can't I just be white? Why can't English be the only language I speak? Or why can't I live with privilege rather than poverty? You see, the kids will call me names, a chink, a nerd. Oh, you're only good at math because you're Asian, not because you studied. They assumed I was somehow related to Bruce Lee and get into a fight with me. Oh, now you're worried? You see, you don't know me, where I came from, what my habit is, and what food I like to eat. So maybe I should take this time to inform you. I'm correct. I wear my cultural shirt with pride and glee, the cultural shirt that's hand-woven from an unwritten history. You see, the shirt that signifies years of running, fighting, and hardships, but also the shirt that'll be worn when liberation will come to our soft shores ahead. I'm correct. Backpacking, fish paste loving, and sometimes I even eat with my hands. Correct. Not Karen, because I don't need to speak to the manager since my work ethic has brought me here. I'm correct. I'm from Gautule, a place with no borders, but remember the boundaries are never limited. Not Burmese, not Thai, not Korean. Yage Komanyopo. This next piece is a little bit more fun. I've been writing a book, and I've been saying this for quite a while now. Anyone that's close to me know I've been saying this for a minute. I've been writing more, putting more content in it, but for some reason it's never finalized. But in this book, titled Love V Lust, I try to get as many different love poems out there, I guess, in this piece. You know, I'm a college student, so we go through things, we have experiences, you know, we get in our feelings a little bit and write about stuff like this. So this piece is titled A Letter to My Crush. Y'all ready? All right. Oh, also, I wanted to say this at the beginning, but I forgot. I wrote in my notes. But after everyone read their pieces or perform their pieces, I don't want simple claps and cheers. Okay? I want screams and voices. Okay? I want to hear words. I want to hear people say, yo, that was dope, that was great. I want to hear things like that, okay? Reassuring things, all right? This is a very accepting community, okay? We're going to be a very open community and free-minded community, but accepting as well, all right? So just for future references. All right. Whew. Sorry, I'm looking at my piece of paper.
All right. Yeah, thanks, man.
Okay. This piece is titled, A Letter to My Crush. Dear Crush, I'm writing to you today because I'm too nervous to say hi. And I'll admit I feel a little timid, I'm not sure why, I'm a whole adult. But every time I see you, I just can't help but feel puppy love. I can't help myself but feel like a kid again in elementary school who used to pass notes around in hopes that one day they turn into good morning text messages. Share my chocolate chip muffins with you at breakfast in hopes that one day I can finally take you out for dinner. Play tag with you in the playground in hopes that one day this chase for you will finally end, but not with a single touch. Not, but with a grasp, a grasp so strong that I'll forget I was ever part of this game and I wouldn't need to chase anyone else. You see, Crush, everything about you just seems so perfect. From your head to your eyes and your smile, I mean, whew, child. I mean, every time you smile, that one Bruno Mars song just starts playing inside my head. And when you smile, the horror stops and stays for a while. 'Cause you're amazing, just the way you see, every time you smile, my whole world aligns again and all my problems go away. See, every time you smile, I just stop and stare. Because if I did try to talk, I would stutter. My words would be lost, just like how my heart was when my eyes first took a glimpse of your beauty. And yes, I know, that was a cheesy line. But you see, I had a feeling you love cheesy ass lines, so here's another one. When I first laid my eyes on you, I immediately knew I had butterflies in my stomach. Actually, let me correct myself, because to have butterflies would be an understatement. In fact, I would have an entire rainforest in my whole body. You see, if I was the soil, you'd be the rain, the gentle, soothing, but yet strong, pouring rain that flourishes me, that enriches me, that prevent me from ever becoming dirt. You see, if I was the trees, you be the roots that keep me strong and sturdy. You be the roots that hold me together to make me a better and a bigger person until I finally pass the clouds and reach the stars, until I finally reach you. And just like all the animals in the forest, you see, your beauty is diverse, that roars over the entire ecosystem. So Crush, if I was ever the king of the jungle, then you would be the queen of the forest. So I would be lying if I told you I only have butterflies in my stomach. I'd also be lying if I told you I wasn't much of a daydreamer. And I'll admit, I don't mean to daydream, but when I do, I can picture us waking up early to go on a hot air balloon ride just to watch the sun rise. I swear I don't mean to daydream, but when I do, I can picture us eating homemade food on the picnic table, waiting for that same sun to set. I swear I don't mean to daydream, but when I do, I can picture us on the night of our anniversary, sitting on top of the Eiffel Tower in the city of love, Paris. A table for two, white tablecloth, rose petals announce, soft jazz, music playing too, drinking red wine and eating food that we don't even know how to pronounce. And when that expensive bill comes, ironically, our stomach won't be full because the servings are always too small. But you see, what will be full is our hearts, filled with a more of each other. I'm not much of a daydream, but when I do, I can picture how beautiful you look when you walk down that aisle on our wedding day. I can picture how nervous, but yet excited I'll be when I recite my vows towards you. I'd vow that I'd rub your back, massage your body every time you had a hard day after work. I'd vow to put the toilet seat down after using the bathroom. I'd vow to kiss your forehead every night and tell you how lucky I am to be with you. And if you kiss me in the morning, I will even kiss you back, even if your breath do stink. But I still let you do it, because that's love. See, I vow to be your biggest lover, your biggest supporter, but also your biggest headache. You see, I vow to complain every time you take hours and hours and hours in the bathroom just to put your makeup on. But if you ask me how you look, I vow to reply with, "Damn, man, you was fun," every time. You see, I vow for every quarter I had, I'd give you 50 cents. I vow to love you like how a fat kid loved cake. In fact, I vow to love you so dearly that I wrote a damn freaking poem and performed it. See, I vow to not be so timid anymore, and instead of living with regrets, I'd rather live with reject. Sincerely. Sincerely, your future has... Never mind. So that's my pieces for tonight. Hope y'all enjoyed it. I haven't read that piece in so long, so thank you for such great energy. So the next folks we have of mine is Tinashe, William, Ruth, Sade, and Justin. So the next person I want to introduce is Tinashe. He's a good friend of mine. We met like a year and a half ago, 2 years now, but we've gotten really close with poetry and been sharing a lot of our work. So he's another great poetry in the era. So please give him a warm applause.
Thank you, Tabo. How are we feeling?
Good.
Yeah? I was telling Tabo on the way here that I don't like him, and here's why. First of all, he just did that, right? Whatever that was. And I have to follow him. And I don't think that's an easy thing to do, but I think it's also a testament to the greatness that's within him and his greatness. So thank you so much for his work. Changes nothing, I still don't like you. Two things before we jump into some more poetry, which I hope will be half as decent. I'm grateful for poetry and its ability to bring us together in this way. So stories are some of the most fascinating things, and I always tell people, I like to think I was raised because of stories, and these stories need to be told. And because stories are all around us, we can connect. So I'm grateful for this connection with poetry. And then the second thing is, I genuinely have no idea what poem I'm going to perform. Here's why. Hear me out. The piece I prepared was a letter also, or somewhat similar to that. So I'm like, are we really feeling another letter? So I was panicking as Tabo was performing stuff, like, I'm next, what do I do? Should we do it?
Yeah.
No, I actually had back. I was like, okay, so I'm gonna try this other one, maybe I'll try another one. All right, perfect. Let me just make sure I pull it up, and we'll have fun with it, hopefully. Do some fun. How many of you have seen a movie called Moana?
Yeah.
Moana? Yeah? Do you like it? Was it good? I've never seen it. Yeah. But this is very much connected to the piece I'm going to perform, because the piece is called Moana, which is interesting because I've never seen the movie. So I just had a hat, so it's like random names, and I just picked it out. I was like, okay, cool, well, I guess I'll poem this. Now, I have a friend, and she was once in a play, a Disney play of sorts, and she was playing the Disney Princess Moana. So this piece is dedicated to her, and it's in her honor. It's called Moana. Moana. I'm writing you this letter with hopes of bringing out a smile. And don't you just have the best one? You've been on my mind a lot lately. I guess you've become a neuron that's found its place within me. That was nerdy, I was a bit nerdy, but you know it works. It's funny the things I fantasize, and when I see you, I can't measure the magnitude of my heart, as it does a billion things inside, and it acts like there's a boxing match going on the way it beats, as my very being becomes childlike again. I remember the first time we met, your scornful criticism towards the state of education in our country, my listening intently with a solemn smile, trying to conceal that I was sneakily gazing at your beautiful brown sun-kissed skin. It's been a rocky ride since then. You've stood firm and unflinching and been my pillar. If the Notre Dame Cathedral was made of you, no fire would have been close to triumph. Which is actually quite funny and ironic, because you also possess a flame deep within that has a candle effect on me and ignites pure joy and happiness. When we're together and our eyes interlock and hands touch, I become speechless and struggle to say sentences like a Moses in the burning bush. In reality, I just can't contain how fire you are. And where do I even begin with your beauty? The way you glow, stars take notes. When it came time to make you, God gathered his most trusted counsel to discuss the personification of an angel. And when your very being was envisioned, heaven marveled because earth was about to receive a real-life infinity stone, a gem. And so when he carefully took his paintbrush and placed the right curves in the right places, put a personality so attractive it makes black holes exit the discussion, individually drew each silky strand of your hair, he knew that what was in front of him was a work of art, perfect. No matter any imperfection, he still sees you as flawless because real talk, that's what you are. Now wherever you set foot, the world stands in awe, and so do I. But not just that, Moana. Every word that you utter is so carefully thought out and seamlessly woven, it's almost as if poetry convenes in your mouth. A true queen. Buckingham Palace could never. No royalties match yours, but to still call you regal would be an understatement because you're more than a crown. Crowns wish they had your value. You keep me human, and for that, I'm grateful. I didn't want to say much, except all of this. And this is a scary feeling. Well, at least it's one I'm learning to deal with. Writing this to you on your birthday, it's been 8 months since September. Not a day passes by without the memory of you. The ones closest to you didn't know either. By the time they found you, the clocks had journeyed. Trapped in the rat race, trying to win the rat race. Preoccupied with what could save face, so we pay attention less, and we can't even notice the mess those of us, those close to us, are going through. I'm not blaming, I'm just saying, pay attention to those close to you. I'm sorry that I wasn't rich enough to do so for you, Moana. Thank you.
So many love letters so far. I'm all here for it, man. But by the way, people in the back, feel free to move up forward. Let's get intimate, let's get vulnerable. This is what this poetry is all about, right? Next up in line is William Welch. William Welch lives in Utica, New York, where he writes poetry and worked as a registered nurse in one of the city hospitals. He holds a DA in English from Utica College. His poems have appeared in several journals, most recently in Stone Canoe and Nine Mills. Work is forthcoming in the Inland Muse, the Constructive View, and Willie Overall Journal. He edits W Map for the other side of Utica. His current body work focuses partially on the continuity of lived human experience across time. He is at work on a full-length manuscript. Please welcome William.
Just make sure that everybody can hear me. Can you hear me all right? Yeah. All right. Sometimes I don't work well with mics, so if I fade out, throw a cupcake at me or something. I want to thank Tabo and Barb and Bob for inviting me to read this evening. If you haven't seen the show upstairs, it really is amazing. My poetry isn't really sort of responding directly to it, but I feel like Leslie, Dill, and I are both inspired by similar source materials, especially she uses a lot of references to Emily Dickinson, and I also do that. My first poem is called Finest Clothes. It was inspired by an article of clothing in the National Museum of the American Indian, an Innu hunting robe. In Innu culture, it was customary for men to discuss their dreams with their wives, who would then interpret their husband's dreams and embroider images taken from the dreams onto the hunting robes. They believed the spirit of the caribou sent these dreams before a hunt, and by wearing the robe, the hunter is paying tribute and thanks to the caribou. I'm not Native American, but this Innu practice reminded me of stories from the Bible, Joseph and the coat of many colors. So that's what this poem is kind of referring to. You ask me every night in my sleep, what will you do once you wake up? I have yet to answer and keep dreaming. So you come to me, sometimes as my grandfather, sometimes as the woman who taught me how to read music. You remain yourself despite alternating faces. Like water, you are the same through all your faces. One night I say, enough, tell me a story instead. Stop asking me what I'll do when morning comes. Reclining in the darkness along my bed, you take on the appearance of my mother as she looked when I was 6, and begin, once there was a boy, who years later learned to interpret dreams, waiting for his father in the shade beneath a tree. It seemed to him he was waiting all day. Cicadas were whirring in the grass around him, above him in the branches, and this thrown voice and voiceless things made him wonder about his body and the words that filled his mouth. Rather than undo the silence of the tree, the insects heightened it, and he realized suddenly silence is a different kind of speaking. His father startled him. The man approached his son with a garment in his hands. If at dusk, when light becomes tattered along the ground, you could pull a thread loose and unspool the sky, then you would have ready fiber to make cloth for this kind of robe. All that color fell around the boy's shoulders. Now, in the guise of the woman I love, you take my hand. We stand up, and you lead me through the hallways of a quiet house. Careful not to wake the others sleeping, you warn. We go outside. It is an August afternoon. A young man is digging in the grass and he calls, "Be careful. There's a dry well hidden in the teasel and you'll fall in if you get too close." But we have to walk up to the edge together, don't we? The smell of the earth and dry grasses is like cinnamon and caraway, iron and balsa wood. The teasel, each tall stalk, topped with a grenade of small periwinkle flowers, grows thick. Inextricably, we are stitched together by a thread of fineness beyond a spider's skill to spin. What will you do when you wake up? I will wear my thoughts as though they were my finest clothes. This poem is called Steadfast Honey. It's going to be appearing in a journal called Little Patuxent Review in January. Fog this morning after the first cold night in 3 months. From my kitchen window, I can hardly see the garden, though enough light begins to shine through the bank to turn everything mustard yellow. Outside, my clothes dampen in moments. The blue corn flowers have withered into gray mop heads, and California poppies have become their signature small mallets. Brittle, drying weeds glisten as though they are made of glass. Would it be hard to tell the difference between these and Leopold Blaschke's flowers, each handmade, blown or lamp-worked? No, the has-been wildflowers were not good enough specimens, dried and pressed. So the glassmaker fashioned his own blossoms that even after 100 years never lose their shape and color. While I am here in my yard, safe, though unnerved by the ignited fog, my friend Lek is 6 hours into a 30-hour bus ride between Paris and the Polish-Ukrainian border. He wrote from his last night to mine, telling me his plans. For 15 years, he's had one story in mind, and although the text eluded him, child of exiles, he is going back to the country his parents fled. One war then, another today. He will bring his camera, a few poems he is writing. Unsure of what draws him to tell this story, equally unsure why he has not been able to tell it, he is certain now that in the Carpathian Mountains there is a solution waiting to be discovered, that the urge to make something durable is a kind of homesickness. As the air clears, the garden regains its subtle ranges of color, faint blue-grays, pinks, greens. One can see the many nuances of brown. I sit with a guide to botany, testing my memory. There are ways to identify plants without their blossoms, according to my book. How do leaves attach onto stems? Are the stems round or square? When they do flower, are the blossoms symmetrical, or do they fight off symmetry in favor of a bold imbalance? I doubt myself and have to check to be certain about what I am seeing. Yes, that was Indian blanket. No, that was coreopsis, not black-eyed Susan. You also can tell by the types of seed which is which. How poppies, as their pods dry, lift up their tops like non-law hats, and little onyx seeds fall into your palm, the black snow. Blashka could not capture this with his plants. I close my book and begin a note Black will not see for months. I tell him about the dying flowers and how I prefer them to glass, about how I woke last night from sleep, frightened of all things by the thought that I will never understand the taste of honey. I must bring it to my lips again and again, and though some part of the flavor stays steadfast with me, the whole sweetness is beyond experience. Do bees know better? I've watched them collect pollen. Each bee thrusts itself into blossoms the way an excited cat jumps into grocery bags. One bee goes from flower to flower, and each time before taking flight, she cleans her face with both forehands as though licking her lips, full, perhaps, to the point of sickness, but not satisfied. Thank you.
For that. There's going to be a change in the lineup. Next up, I want to introduce my good friend Sade. Sade is a Yoruba Nigerian that immigrated to America at the age of 12. She is a resident of Schenectady, New York, but is currently studying international studies at Utica University. Sade describes her poetry as dark, but also insensitive to her listeners. Her poem shines light in her darkest days. Please welcome my good friend, Sade.
Was a way for me to like kind of express myself, and I just needed like an outlet to, channel what I just kept bottled up inside. So the first poem I'm gonna read is called A Lost Soul. A lost soul in search of the light within them is like no other mission. The moment you feel like you're in control of everything, the darkness finds its way into your mind and clouds every bit of hope you have left in you. You begin to think to yourself, why is my mind so against me? In what ways have I conditioned the voices in my head to be so against me? As I question that, the voices in my head becomes silent. You see, it's a struggle to overcome immorality. You sink deeper and deeper into it. It's becoming a part of you. It almost corrupts you in a way you've never felt before. It's an unfamiliar feeling. You dig intensely within yourself to find an understanding, but you just seem to get lost and you begin to stray further away from who you remember yourself to be. You see the dark clouds that blinds the light you once lit within yourself becoming a blooming flame that is never ending. You see, the feeling of misery makes you forget how to feel again. It makes you feel like you don't belong. It makes you feel indifferent. Indifferent in the sense that you aren't even in control of the person you're becoming. And you begin to feel numb to the people and things that once brought you comfort. You see, it's made its home inside you. The harder you fight, the more it clings onto you. You're only now familiar with the wave of sorrow that clings its way onto you like a leech. It absorbs itself within you. The only emotion you tend to understand is that of sadness. You lose the sense of awareness, and now it's up to you to search for the soul that once brought about comfort. Pain. Pain, pain, pain. That's all I'm surrounded by. The sharp feeling within my chest claws its way into my thoughts. The darkness deems the light from within, and in a sense, I am left alone to battle the darkness from within with no light to guide me through the battle. Pain, pain, pain. I drown in thoughts Drowning in your thoughts is like no other. The lower you sink, the faster the light dims, and thus leaves me with no choice than to become one with the pain. So this last poem that I'm gonna be reading to you guys, it just kind of connects with me right now because I just turned 21. And I just feel like life is kind of moving fast for me. And like dealing with like a lot of traumatic experiences made me become so hyper aware and hyper fixated on everything. So just realizing how I have to go into the world on my own and try to navigate life on my own is kind of like a scary thought. So this poem kind of like put things into perspective. It's called The Misery of the 20s. The loneliness of your 20s sits on the back of your neck as you try to stand up straighter. You cut your nails too close to your skin, and it takes everything just to buy eggs and milk at the grocery store. Nostalgia is like a backseat driver next to you on your drive home. You try to find connection in all places, and you laugh and drink wine with friends, but something feels off. Something always feels off. Clothes don't sit well anymore. Your voice sounds different. Laughter doesn't come out as easily, but your heart is open, more open than it has ever been. You've done everything right. You had to, but where are you now? You have so much space for love, but you don't know where. You eat when you're full and push the nausea down when someone offers you more. You yearn for a quiet love now, something you can crawl into bed with a cold night, something warm to come home to. That's what I need. You think? But you're alone, aren't you? Even if someone is there, you feel alone. Is this just me, you think? Is all this pain really mine? And now all you wonder is where you can put it without hurting yourself and everyone around you. But it's there, in your untidy bedroom, in the bubbling laughter of your friend, and unwashed dishes, waiting for you to pick it up.
Thank you, Sade, for being vulnerable with us and willing to share and be courageous to share with a bunch of strangers that you don't know, but you're able to be vulnerable and share. So that's, sometimes we forget that, you know, that's what makes us human. And I feel like we need more of that, like, of just being able to be vulnerable with each other and share our pieces. So I really appreciate you for that, and I appreciate everyone else for that too. So please give another round of applause to Tabo. Next up, our next in lineup will be Ruth, followed by Justin, Catherine, and then Orin. So Ruth Ann Dandrea is a freelance writer whose essays have appeared in Prairie Schooner, sorry if I said that wrong, Weber Studies, Enderonic Life, Rethinking Schools, and other publications. She has published poetry and short fictions in literary magazines and is a co-author of a book on women kayaking titled Wow, Woman on Water, which was named the Enderonic Center for Writing Nonfiction Book of 2012. Wow. Please give a warm welcome to Ruth Ann Dandrea.
I've been told lately people can't hear me. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay. Thank you, all you young people, for including us with you tonight. I'm very, very honored to be here. I was also an English teacher for 20, 30 years, and Barb said, go see the exhibit and write something that you are inspired by it with. So I did, you know, I just did the assignment. So here's the poem. It's called A Need for Light in the Wilderness. The 12-year-old girls, one who menstruates, one who does not, ask, well, how do you get pregnant anyway? But their teacher, my friend, is more surprised when they wonder, What do you mean, slavery? John Brown led that raid to arm the slaves, saying, I took my power in my hand and went against the world. Anne Hutchinson, that American Jezebel, dared the fluentness of her tongue. The others said, she had rather be a husband. Horace Pippin returned from war metal-chested to paint pictures in black and white, crying, you will see what they did and are still doing in the South. Isabel Bonfrey, 40 years a slave, asked God for another name, and he gave her truth. Isn't she a woman? Jonathan Edwards, slave owner and preacher, held us by God over a fire of wrath by that slender thread. Mary Rowlandson, captive among the Narragansett for 11 weeks, freed, proclaimed, not one Indian offered me the least abuse. Black Hawk, warrior and keeper of the sacred bundle, wrote the first indigenous autobiography, noting, how smooth must be the language of the whites when they can make right look like wrong and wrong right. And finally, and of course, Hester Prynne, sewn together, allotted no words at all, just that small, white, calligraphic A, saying everything, telling nothing. The girls, 12 years old, menstruating or not, claim they could not be mothers now because they would just say no, understanding nothing of slavery, of history, of bodies, of blood. Because I'm a words person, then I came home and said, but what about all those amazing sculptures up there? So there's this tiny little addendum to that home. Surrounded by the clothes of ghosts or giants, dangling threads have always made me nervous. Immersed in words, eases, pleases. Something about them, the clothes I mean, hanging there, making you aware as from a pulpit looking down. Swirling beards and flowing collars tangle and trip your soul. Something about them hanging there empty of all but words left behind. Something made them bigger than they were. Something kept them living beyond their lives. Something gave power to change a world. The words, those needles sew loose threads into whole cloth. There is a fabric of living more giving than souls can bear. There is a cloth of conscience impossible to tear. I'm going to close with a poem. Sorry. I'm going to close with a poem that wasn't written in response to the exhibit, but I think it thematically works. It's called On the Street Behind the Construction Site for the New Hospital. A bearded construction worker from the new hospital stood in the street by the strange bundle, protecting it without paying attention to it, while the line of cars waited for the red light. He placed an orange and white cone beside it. By then, I knew it was a body, a man, probably the beggar who works the intersection, I thought. He lay on his side, collapsed or struck by a passing car. A man on the other side of the street looked toward the fallen one and spoke into a cell phone, so we, the rest of us, I guess, understood that something was being done. Still, the car in front of me rolled its windows down. An exchange, the car drove on. I followed it. Any further intrusion, redundant. The watching worker seemed a little bit annoyed. This, after all, was not the job he'd signed on for in his hard hat, orange vest. I wonder if he chose to do it, saw the man, maybe saw him fall, and knew he must attend. Or if a boss or someone sent him to the scene. I like to think the fallen man, someone the watcher knew, that he gave him half his sandwich once or every day. That his apparent lack of concern hid a deep humanity. The way we, all of us in our cars, driving by as if this an ordinary red light stopping, understood. We, too, lay in the road, our bodies huddled on hard pavement, waiting to falter, fail, fall, waiting for help, heavenly or human. Afterward, I took the dog, walked the woods, perfect autumn afternoon. Fat yellow jackets buzzed in goldenrod beside purple asters. A clay-filled stream gurgled past, swollen from a week's rains. The basset, with nose in the air, not to the ground, sensing something new, exciting. But in every living thing, beautiful and bright, I spied a crumpled clump of clothes, watched it turn into a man. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ruth, for such heavy pieces, but honest. Funny story, when I was a kid, when I was in high school, every time we take like those English exams and the poetry section, you have to read a poem and then answer like 10 multiple choices, I would get like 2 right out of the 10. And kind of crazy to think about how I never really understood poetry back in high school, but now I'm here, speaking, performing poetry and listening to others. So it's kind of funny how the word works. Next up, we have Justin, who was born and raised in the Bronx, New York, but bounced back and forth from Orlando, Florida. He makes all types of music from rap, rock, drill, R&B, alternative, etc., mostly as a release or an expression of the environments around him. The 3 in his name stands for the 3 sides of a story. My side, your side, the truth, and that's what he's here to do, to share it all through. Please welcome Justin.
Hello. How we doing tonight, guys? Good. All right, so I'm here to share 2 pieces from my mixtape called LFL, which is out on all platforms. That acronym stands for Life Full of Losses. So this project that I'm working on, to me, is an active documentation on the things that I've faced in my life and how I grow, how I get past it. So this first one is called Life I've Been Living. So let me tell you about the life I've been living. From a house full of roaches to a house with high ceilings. And I haven't peaked yet, but I'm still preaching. Trying to be an inspiration for the youth. Don't you follow others, copy how I move. I know it's hypocritical, like, why should you do what I'm telling you? But just learn from how I'm living and try and be a better you. I'm just trying to be a better me. Before the end of me, I'll make sure all of y'all feel my energy. They say, your soul ain't right. Well, keep a hold on your mind. That's what they're trying to take from you. I told my enemies, if they hate me, then I love them, because I trust them to be who they are. Yeah, it is what it is. I can't stress over nothing. This is the life that I live. From a house full of roaches to a house with high ceilings. And I ain't even peaked yet, but I'm still preaching, trying to be an inspiration for the youth. And so this second song that I'm going to be performing here is called LYAMB. And if I'm going to be honest with you guys, I made up an acronym for it, and then I forgot what it stood for, and I was like, I gotta go with it now, because I did a video, and it was already on the video. Can't edit it out. So this one here goes, I'm from a city where the roaches live with the rats. Turn around and look back, and you'll never make it. Dreams of a prophecy. I know I'm the greatest, and I know they've been plotting. They hope that I waste it. They say, opportunity is knocking, but you're too busy to focus on all your options. They tried to tell me, and I didn't listen. Yeah, I paid the price. Walking down hell, I've seen it a couple times, but I guess I'm different from the rest of them. Like, I skipped the whole grade. I think I'm ahead of it, and you're doing bad, I guess. Your luck is up. My father always told me that the world is cold. I put my trust in my soul, hoping he was wrong, but my weaknesses, they led me on. Can't be stressing. I'll make my mark on the way.
For sharing your pieces. Like he said, his song is out on all platforms. His mixtape is just out. Next up we have in line will be Catherine, then Orin, then Ariella, and then Jamie. So Catherine Ruth Stam is a writer, public speaker, and a professor of cultural anthropology at the SUNY Polytechnic Institute in Utica, New York. She has a PhD in social sciences from Syracuse University. In recent years, writing creative nonfiction about her cross-cultural life has become an obsession. Catherine shares stories that reveal the subtleties of cross-cultural relationships and the pure joy that comes from making friends with people who come from different backgrounds and speak different languages. Please welcome my good friend, Kat.
Thank you, Tabo. Hello. I'm just gonna dive right in. Airborne. Crumbs drop, pigeons watch, children wait. Before the newspapers were rapping for fried samosas and beaten rice, they were just news of floods, of politicians, of Maoist insurgents, of environmentally devastating dams. They were advertising for luxury homes and luxury shampoo. The news tells of another royal massacre, another earthquake. A plane above my head carries tourists who look just like me. They are here in Nepal to climb Mount Everest or fly over it in a helicopter. They might sit in an ashram for a month eating nothing but dal bhat and beaten rice, like I did once in the 90s. But now it's 2018, and I have been returning here for more than 30 years. The gray water in an aluminum bucket swells with the motion of the plane above our heads. I look up at the jet that is so close, I can see the Nepali flag on its tail, waving red, white, and blue. I return my attention to the cement rooftop of our Kathmandu suburb, the one where Lord Shiva used to rule, and where the snake god still lives and brings rain. My Nepali homestay sister, Savitri, teaches me how to wash my pineapple underwear with a bar of laundry soap that looks so much like a potato, I have to ask her, why are we beating our clothes with potato? This one's called Suspicious. The police are looking for the suspicious and potentially malicious. Suspicious is the color of rhubarb, red but not danger red. It's soft and tickled with innocent white, but it may taste bitter or sweet depending. Suspicious feels like a secret letter set with the return address in Microsoft Word handwriting font. Suspicious smells like Febreze, too much, too fast, tingles in the nose. Feel suspicious requires the gathering of evidence, otherwise known as gossip, slander, lies, mixed with half-truths. Suspicious sounds like a young woodpecker at the bird feeder. You think it's a person knocking on the door, but it's really just a bird pecking at black sunflower seeds. When refugees first come to Utica, no matter what country or place they come from, they are suspicious of the police, of strangers, of landlords. They love their ESL teachers, though, having never been allowed to study. The adults dress up for class and packed dried yak cheese to share with their new friends. The teachers told them not to break the law. The police will catch them. No speeding, no running late. Do you need car seats and licenses? Licenses? Yes, licenses. I only have my learner's permit. Oh, you need licenses. Knife sharpeners display their wetted wares on cotton sheets. This may be in markets anywhere. In Utica, it could be at Oriental Market, or Sonny's, or the Vietnamese place on Bleecker that everyone calls the Chinese store. One day, four Nepali men in their 20s left home at 2 p.m. to go to Chobani where they work. 2 women their age in jeans and hoodies flagged them down, telling them they need a ride. When the men stopped the car, the women talked to them. When they handed the driver a piece of paper, cop cars surrounded them. What happened during those moments and soon after is not my guess. The next day, the men were all home. Their mugshots and names were up on the Facebook page of the city police department. So easy to share. Their crime was soliciting prostitution. Innocent until proven guilty. Innocent until proven suspicious. Innocent until proven brown. Innocent as long as you pay $200 for a good lawyer, not the free bad ones. Innocent until the day before this thing happened. 2 of the 3 men were on suicide watch the next day. Families were distraught. The families didn't understand. They feared that their boys would not be able to marry, that the news would go to Nepal and Bhutan, and they would be disgraced, rejected, outcast. When I see the men, they couldn't look me in the eye. They couldn't speak. Their parents asked me if their son might have to go to jail or pay thousands of dollars in fines. When the men finally did speak, they tell me that a woman handed them a laminated list of what she wanted to do with them. We did not want this, they said. We don't want any of this. We never even wanted to come here. I don't know what happened. I wasn't there. I can only guess and suspect. But I called the police chief to complain about the mugshots. The police chief said that the community appreciates the mugshots. They like to know what's going on in the community. They like to see what crimes are being committed. This is how we welcome refugees. Very short. I'm just going to end with the magic circle. We all have someone we're trying to keep alive. Trace a magic circle on the ground with a magic knife. Place inside the sandy frame all the things you're trying so hard to protect. The hell with the rest. Inside the circle is the child you're trying to keep alive from when you first felt him, and beyond that until forever. Place the tree that your father named and gave to you. Bury the magic circle. Set it down. Its splintered wood swing inside the magic circle. Invite all the refugees to sit in. Offer them tea. Offer them the best schools and a new laptop and a house with a trampoline, which barely fits in the magic circle, but we all know that play is important. Put the community center in the circle with the West Coast swing dancers, the ESL students, and the volunteers who run Cookie Tuesday. Be sure to include empty bottles for spitting red beetle nut for your guests. They might need a sleeping bag, or they might just need a ticket to get out of the magic circle. Either way, we wait for the tide to subside. We wait for the circle to break. The night's responsible.
Thank you, Catherine, for such powerful pieces. And thank you for doing the work that you do within this community. If you guys don't know, Catherine is very an avid volunteer for Midtown Utica Community Centers and other communities in the area. And as a refugee, as a current refugee, we thank you from the bottom of our heart. Thank you. Next up we have Orin, and then followed by Ariella, Jamie, and then Joel. So Orin Domenico is a former itinerant hippie carpenter and high school English teacher who has been writing poetry for 33 years. He calls himself a bluesologist, as his work is very influenced by lifelong immersion in African American music and literature. A major collection of his work, My Rap Sheet Is Wrong, was published in 2019 by Black Rabbit Press. With his partner Kim and daughter Molly, he has run the Cafe Domenico since 2002 and the small not-for-profit arts center, The Other Side, since 2007. He is a founding member of the Rag and Bone Shop Poetry Theater. His passions include gardening, photography, gourmet cooking, and his ever-growing extended family. Please welcome Orin.
As the introduction said, I've been writing poetry now for 33 years. And two of the previous readers, Ruth and Will, are part of a poetry trio with myself. We work together, we exchange poetry almost on a daily basis. Through that, I tend to write at least one poem every day, usually more, probably anywhere between 400 or 500 poems a year. And when you do that, what happens is you find you begin to develop a voice that you didn't have when that started. You'll find this as you go to, I'm speaking as probably the oldest poet here tonight, and you're all young. Keep writing, write a lot. Don't worry about how good it is. When you do 500 a year, if you get 20 good ones, you're probably batting a pretty good batting average. Seriously. Anyhow, the form that I've evolved into most recently, I call it 5 by 5, in that they're short poems, 5-line stanzas, and 5 of them. It seems I can't count. Yeah, I think tonight, one of them has 6 stanzas, one of them has 4, and the other has 5. So, anyhow, they tend to be true stories. This first one is called An Inquiry into the Lingering Possibility of Love. In mid-September, the long-spent peony flowers shed their sere petals to reveal 3 swollen pea-green seed pods. Under the influence of a brisk breeze, the mid-morning air is bracing. Then the blanket said, "Stick 'em up, I've got you covered. Tomorrow we'll be inside with the season's first fire." These days, a lot of folks spend lots of times lost in the ozone of their choosing. What's one to make of all the confusion? I think between climate catastrophe, the economy, the nuclear saber rattling of Biden and Putin, folks are scared to all be Jesus. So like me, some get wasted and watch a lot of football. How does one cast a vote for love now when fear itself is such an impediment? The rumble funk of motors drowns out any answer. We need a new urbanity, one without infernal combustion. Oh, I know the poet's such a dreamer, but then someone's got to do it. John and Yoko invited us to join them in imagining the world as one, and that old hippie shit may be the last chance we have now. Love is such a scary thing, the stuff from which the fear of God is made. These poems are a soothing balm, but nothing can alleviate the terror of the love of the mother we've never known. This one's a true story. It's called Bodhisattva on the Corner. Yestereve, the poet and his mate were crossing the 4-lane parkway on the home stretch of the recreational track when they spied a gnarly little man with a sign at the stoplight ahead. The poet pulled out a couple of bucks from his wallet, beckoned him over, handed him the cash. God bless you, he said, and put it in his cash with his 2-liter bottle of Mountain Dew and a gallon of water. He returned to the curb as a white muscle car rolling its window down pulled over. The driver extended a closed fist and dropped something the poet assumed was crumpled cash into the beggar's hand. The poet gave the driver, the long-haired driver, a thumbs up as he pulled away. The alms seeker turned and opened his hand to reveal a thumb-sized bud of red-tinged crystal cannabis. The poor man broke off a piece and handed it to the poet, who said, "No, I have plenty." To which the man inquired, "What kind of guy would I be if I didn't pass something on?" Hence. This one's called The Poetic Invitation. It appeared on the Counterpunch website. This morning, while the coffee brewed, the poet read Chris Hedges' SheerPost column on a courageous paraplegic Iraqi war veteran and of his unending struggles with excruciating pain, all made worse by abusive VA neglect, and of his decision to pull the plug on his unendurable existence. I then felt I had no further right to complain about my own incomparably minor pains, but rather a duty to demand an immediate end to the war profiteering that mutilates so many men, women, and children, and which is a primary top 5 contributor to our current climate crisis. But the impossibility of altering the course of this juggernaut bent on its windfall profits, planet be damned. Shut up and eat your bowl of GMOs. In the fireplace silence, the poet hears the tick-tock of the little West clock on the mantle, and he recollects the poet's obligation to weave a beautiful tapestry from the terror presented. What pressure might a million poems bring to bear on the Moloch war machine that's devouring the future? For the children, pick up the pen and make an answer. Want to hear one more?
Yeah.
I had an extra one I brought. I was just going to do those 3, but I think I'm in my time limit here. This one's called The Word Spider at the Wedding Rehearsal Dinner. When I was in my 50s and folks said, "You look just like that movie star," they were thinking prison, Sean Connery. In my 60s, maybe William Holden, if he'd lived a little longer. Now in my 70s, perhaps Gerard Depardieu, Snazzola, now looks like a lumpy potato. Across the valley up on the Deerfield Ridge, floodlights and cell towers, rhythmic flashing, I hear the sad bells of the Midtown Carillon clashing. Round the recessed deck lights below the red stripe dawning, spiders have woven their intricate webs, where doomed mosquitoes and moths drawn to the light are snagged in sticky filament hell, where round-bellied Beelzebub boars devour them. Inside, folks from here, there, and everywhere are getting to small talk, know one another. Out here in the cool of the evening, I'm stitching disparate threads together like a big word-slinging spider. As the bishop of connectivity, I need my golden conical miter. Like Bo Diddley, I'm a lover, not a fighter. Down at Tiny's bags is glowing. Back here, I've got cards that I'm not showing. Thank you.
So this one does not have a title, but I'm just gonna get into it. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to hurt I don't know what I want. You're so close, but yet so far. Honestly, I don't know what love is. I'm too scared to think of what we were, rather what we could be. When I look into your eyes, I see the man that I love looking right back at me, but I've been hurt so many times and tired of putting this wall around my heart, afraid to let someone in again. Here at arm's reach, as if I could reach out, touch you, bring you into my arms, but here I stand, rooted in the ground, unable to step forward and make my way towards you. The thing about love is it's a crazy thing can change you. The thing about me is I can't just dive headfirst into it. I find myself overthinking it a million times, rooted, unable to hit the move. I have to understand you. I'd rather see than be blindly in love, able to plant a seed of our love together. Watch the roses bloom and grow unto moonlit our love. I started to realize that I see the best of me when I'm with you.
That honestly, like, really profound in my, I guess my brain, because one of my weakest points in my critique of my writing styles is imagery, but so when others do that, I think, you know, I'm a fan of that. Oh, also, as we near our main lineup, as we near to the end of our main lineup, I also want to mention that more open mic night signups is right over there, and you guys can also sign up for Nomadic Voices newsletter. We'll be posting and sending future events, sort of like these creative events for poetry open mic night. So if you guys are interested in that, sign up for our newsletters, and if you are interested in the open mic night, please sign up as well. Next up is we have Jamie Mars. Jamie Mars is a Utica resident, a mom, a dreamer, and a poet of her own world. She started writing love poems at the age of 11, even when she didn't know what love was. Jamie moved a lot when she was younger, and with that, she lost a lot of her poems. On the discovery of finding her lost pieces, she aspired to one day write a book on all of her works. Please welcome Jamie. After Jamie, we will have Joelle and then Lorraine as our main lineup, and then we will start opening up to the poetry, to the open mic nights, so the open mics, and so you guys want to sign up, it's right there. All right.
I'm just gonna dive right into this one doesn't. None of them really have titles. I could give you back all of the stuff no one needs, but you've given me many things I can't even see. I carry them around deep inside of me. Forever, they'll stay with me forever. I know you still see me in the moonlight, hear me in the whispering trees in the still of the night. In your dark, I was trying to be the light. I tried, oh how I tried. The truth is, I love you unconditionally, over and under and in between. I gave you my trust, gave you all of me. No regrets, I'll never regret you. We carved our names in secret places. The earth's beauty and magic lit up our faces. I thought the universe would keep us in its eternal graces. Still think it will, you just won't see. Our love was gradual, but oh how it grew. Beautifully organic according to you. So special, so fierce, and so very true. And so it'll stay locked away deep in my heart. I have a couple more, they're just like shorter ones. So this one's called The Sun Knows. The sliver of a sunset that peeks through the trees seems to peer into every part of me. It seems to know I'm coming apart at the seams, but it also sees the way my soul gleams. It's just like a little short one. Okay. This one I wrote in like, I don't know, 2010, I believe. Take me away, run away with me, take me to the edge of the earth so we can finally see what forever really means. Save me from this blasphemy, mold me into normality. Show me what it likes to be alive, take me to the other side.
Thank you for that, Jamie. I met Jamie just pretty recently during Incubator's Artist Refinery program. So when she told me she was a poet, I immediately reached out to her and told her she should definitely be part of this. Next up, a man with no introduction, our good friend, Joelle. All right,
right, guys, so I have dreaded this moment for so long. I know Tabo for a little while, and he has always invited me to go out and perform, and I've always rejected him. Just because I haven't performed an open mic, specifically a poem, for maybe over 8 years. And so this is the first one that I've written recently. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it. This is titled From the Heart. Oh, what a beat. It is the beat of the drums from inside of my chest. It is the rhythm and the music of the old and the new. It is the sound of my ancestors, those who crossed the narrow plains and traveled across the vast seas. It is the music of the gods. It is the sound wave that travels through the eerie silence of this universe. It is the gift of my mother and my father. Thank you for this. And thank you, Mother, for the synchronization of your own heart with mine. Thank you, universe, for not getting rid of me. To my children, to my unborn children, I cannot wait to pass along this gift. To one day put these drums inside of your chest and to have the sonogram sing this beautiful sound. To watch you be born and to watch you be, and to watch your little chest do this. One day you and I will sit. We will sit on my deathbed and you will watch me leave. You will watch the passing through of this incredible gift. Thank you.
This is amazing. We have created, earlier today I shared the flyer, and I posted it with the rebirth of poets in Utica, and I'm just at loss for words because, you know, Joel hasn't read a poem in 8 years, and I know that there's other poets in this room who's either first time performing or, you know, perform and haven't performed in so long. So to be able to create an environment where people are able to share their pieces and be vulnerable is an honor, truly. And our last person we have in our main lineup, and then to our poetry, or to our open mic, is Lorraine Krameyer. Born in Utica, lived here 60 of her 66 years. Artist, writer, teacher, storyteller, a full-time NWP student in the late 1970s where she continues to find her tribe. She has taught here, performed here, and sells her character. The sunshine being here in our gift gallery. Always promoting creativity, after being an unhappy, serious artist, she is grateful to the fairy realm to have been given in the role of the rainbow queen of the Pungwashis. Letting her little light shine, I'm happy to introduce my good friend that I just met recently, Lorraine.
That you hear me. Yeah, I can't wait, because I didn't hear so many of the words that people were, but I got the gist of what everybody was saying. My dear new friend, I have so many new friends. I've come to Munson Williams events by myself for years looking for my tribe that I experienced when I first came to art school here 40 years ago, 30 years ago. And slowly I found these amazing poets and artists, and they're here tonight, we're supporting each other. And I'm really grateful to Tabo. I met him that first Friday, last Friday. I'm like, who's this little kid who's an amazing man, powerful, shaking and stirring us up to be vulnerable, which I feel really vulnerable right now. Something happened because of this event. This first poem that I'm going to read, I've illustrated. I have it in a giant form. I have it in a marketable form that I've been selling. It came when I was really angry because people through the years have said, oh, how nice you write for children. Fairy tales, gnomes and elves and fairies. And I would seethe. And one night it was too much. And the next morning I woke up. And this just flowed out of me. It's not how I talk, but it has snippets of everything that I had been studying and practicing and trying to believe. It's called My Fairy Tale Life. And when I say I feel nervous right now, it's just energy. Wow. My fairy tale life. A fairy tale life is not all Bambi rainbows and fairy nights. There's darkness, horror, deep despair, treachery, deceit, abandonment, fear. But there is sweetness permeating and truth, and if you wait and diligently watch, a wisdom ensues, a happiness that comes, of seeing through, a knowing of which this too shall pass. A mirror which becomes a clear glass. When the knower is the known, and the seeker is the sought. And you and I are one. And the grace which none can barter nor be bought. And I submitted this first time to the Old Forge Library contest, and I misread the instructions. It was supposed to be either an illustration or a poem, and I combined them, and I ended up winning first place. So. And these are characters from a story that I've been writing and telling for 30 years, producing it, directing it, making the costumes, putting it on in different schools and libraries, and grateful for that person who was the camel, what's the saying, the straw that breaks the camel's back, when she said, oh, how nice, you write fairy tales. And I realized I can only be angry at people for saying that because I haven't owned it. I was trained to be a serious artist, and I've judged my work and myself as not good enough. But when I saw ferns turn into fairies up at the Root Glen one time, ran to my car, windows closed, probably 100 degrees in my car, but I kept the windows up because I was so scared and my heart was pounding, and I was like, God, if you want me to see these things, let them come through my artwork, because I don't want to be one of those people who goes, oh, let me take you into the woods and show you how to find fairies. No, I wasn't going to do that, and I didn't want to see it again. I felt like that was enough, and after that, when I was doing a portrait of somebody, they'd get pointy ears, and I'd be like, and they, no, I love fairies, I love elves. Put the pointy ears on me. And one thing led to another, and it's fun, and it's not serious art. I wanted to be a serious, important, sophisticated artist. It's not my lot. The fairies found me. I saw them. They were etheric, they were see-through. I've read about other people that have seen things. That's me. I have to accept myself the way I am. I don't know if you can see it. This is a copy of the sketch. Oh, wait, and I have one more. So this poem, I think I can do it without reading it. This is the story of the dancing lines. Oh, and lines is not the animal, L-I-N-E-S, lines. This is the story of the dancing lines who sing and dance their way through time. Dancing lines can never die. Although once something convinced one that she died, and there she would lie, night after night, day after day, until one dancing line flew by and caught the thought to be dead lying in the corner of her eyelid. The dead line perked up her eye, and she could not deny the urge to dance was still inside. The dancing line inspired her, and on the spot said, "Dead, you're not." The once dead line smiled from ear to ear, and together now they dance through the hemispheres. Thank you.
Thank you, Maureen, for always being you and emitting positive energy. Thank you. Please welcome. We are heading towards our open mic lineup, and the first five will be Brendan, then Chiti Yes, then Yara, and Michael Peterson, and Jasper. I think we still have some signups, but please welcome our first one in our open mic, Brendan.
Thank you. My poetry is inspired by the natural world and poets that have written about it and described it, by conservation writers, such as the author of Sand County Almanac, whose name I've completely forgotten. Aldo Leo. This first poem is called Snowy Owl. Outlined against the aurora borealis, flying low, gliding over country, searching amid moss-covered rock outcrops and low shrubs of birch, dryad, and willow. Watching and scanning for food, fat, juicy lemons, or mice. The Arctic tundra changing, forcing longer hunts and fewer meals. Will sustenance be found? This next one is called If I Were a Tree. If I were a tree, I'd be a tall oak, branches reaching to ensnare the clouds. My taproots grow deep, knocking on the door to the deep earth. The warming sun moving north drives my sap, leaves unfurling, bright green, flutter and rustle, a conversation in the spring breeze. Catkins blossom, eggs waiting for the sperm cloud carried on the wind around my mighty trunk. My spreading branches, a leafy umbrella, throw shade, cooling the summer air below. Green acorns dangle from my limbs, ripening over many months. Birds flit through my branches, robins, warblers, and more, serenading the world. Bluebirds nest, raising their young and their song, safe in cavities provided by me. Day and night, evenly split. My acorns drop to be gathered by manic creatures stored in earthen cupboards, food for the future. A fair exchange for their labor, forgotten ones left buried. My children ready to sprout in spring. Changing to my autumn attire, leaves now brown and dull yellow. Soon they drop and drift in the cooling wind, a carpet on the earth. Winter's snow falls. I stand in grand repose through the Arctic gale, resting until spring when my blood will flow again. How much time left? Okay. Okay, this one is a little bit different and maybe triggering for some that if you're a veteran or something like that. Late winter day, Rome, New York. Bright sunshine, white everywhere, glare in my eyes. At the helicopter that never lands, ready to fire on a perpetual mission. Flags flapping, reaching straight out to the north, a warm breeze from the south. Piles of woolen cotton rolling across the deep blue sky. Snow melting, slush and mud around the walk. Nature's white blanket retreating under the late winter sun. Kneeling warrior on one knee, one boot in the snow, reaching out to the monument. We shall never forget Vietnam, 1959 to 1975. Empty boots with helmet, dog tags hanging off a rifle. Grass reaching green fingers through the snow toward the sky. Dogs on their walks stopping to make yellow snow. Buds emerging on the trees, red bud, cherry, apple, harbingers of spring everywhere. Thank you.
Thanks.
Next up, we have Garfield, aka GTS. After we go to GTS, from Yara, Michael, Jasper, and then Tinashe.
Hello, y'all. How y'all doing? For me, I'm from the Bronx. I'm an underground artist. So my artist name is GTS, Garfield the singer. So instead of speaking today, I'm going to be singing if that's comfortable with you guys. Alright, I like the energy. Yes. Alright, boom, boom, boom. So the first song is my first song I ever written by myself. So here we go. Oh, and another thing, I want y'all to participate, so keep tempo, for me. So I'm gonna start it off and y'all just keep it going, that's valid? Alright, bet. The symphonies of melodies, these words are very true. I ponder over moments I can spend this time with you. I recognize that I've been having feelings over you. Just empathize with me because I want them to you, cause you're my queen, my queen. Just stay with me, my queen. Intentions that I seek from you would need to be pursued. I want to keep it simple with you, so don't be confused. I recognize that I've been having feelings over you. I want to place my heart in the right path to see it through, cause you're my queen, my queen. Just stay with me, my queen. My heart is open very wide to receive you. All day and night, I can't explain the reason why that I fall for you all the time, cause you're my queen, my queen. Just stay with me, my queen. That's the first one. Thank you, I appreciate it. So the second song I want to sing is really a song like based on like it's a symbolism or a symbolism song. So just listen to the words and we're gonna go from there. Y'all ready? Look, history is clear. It's shown right down through the years that apostasy is everywhere. Someone needs to fix this, who cares? I have to show this truth to my peers. With guidance we'll all get there, to a land without death and fear. It's a promise, you better be prepared. I am so thankful for this life given. I must belong here. I must keep winning. The King has authority. Blessings full abundantly. Life He has given. Sins are forgiven. Look, history is clear. It's shown right down through the years that apostasy is everywhere. Someone needs to fix this, who cares? I have to show this truth to my peers. With guidance we'll all get there, to a land without death and fear. It's a promise, you better be prepared. Secrets will be revealed, the truth can't stay concealed. Weapons I will keep still, no movements, I don't care. Don't want to hear debates, money put through my gates. I'm speaking, just wait when driving, move out the way. I sit down and pray, stand strong, don't be afraid. There is no way they can invade. It's your space, it's your estate. Water and air is free. Why is they taxing me? Money I see before they pay. The code is broken for sure indeed. Look, history is clear. It's shown right down through the years that apostasy is everywhere. Someone needs to fix this, who cares? I have to show this truth to my peers. With guidance we'll all get there, to a land without death and fear. It's a promise, you better be prepared. I am so thankful for this life given. I must belong here. I must keep winning. The King has authority. Blessings flow abundantly. Life He has given. Sins are forgiven. Look, history is clear.
Thank you, I appreciate it, Y'all wanna hear another song? Yeah? Another song? Hold on. So this song, you feel me, is for the females. Well, it's really for my female, but it's for the females. Feel me? Alright, but y'all ready? Alright. I gotta breathe for this one.
Back and forth we be discussing about choices that I make if you think it's allowed. My plan was always been to keep all of the vows. You're precious to me, you stand out and your eyes are so bright. Beauty in my eyes, you are the top prize. Emotions are tied to you, I just wanna keep it straight. Baby, I don't wanna see you in pain. All the time we spent together, happy memories when we engaged. Narrow is the path I take, wisdom is finding the one who shows love. From her heart there is enough. It's all good when she say I am in love. Make y'all send me cues, help me sing boldly. But life not go shine, call me rebolded. All the dreams me I have, me I think boldly. Then write something else and then wind them ways.
Yes, yeah, you have to wind your waist. Stop partying, cut the music I play. Move to the rhythm for the bar, don't gaze. Dance with that gal, put her in a display. Me and my kid pull clothes every day. Gal and I impress us how we stay. Benz I go roll from place to place. Dolly I go move in time and space. Back and forth we be discussing about choices that I make if you think it's allowed. My plan was always been to keep all of the vows. You're precious to me. Your eyes are so bright. Beauty in my eyes. You are the top prize.
Emotions are tied to you. I just wanna keep it straight. Baby, I don't wanna see you in pain. All the time we spent together, happy memories when we engage. Narrow is the path I take. Wisdom is finding the one who shows love. From her heart there is enough. It sounds good when she say I am in love.
Thank you for the beautiful melody, Garfield. Also, if it's possible, I want at the end, I want all the poets and performers to all come here and take a picture together, if that's okay with y'all. And if y'all do have the time for that. If not, perfectly okay. Next up we have is Yara.
All right, hello everybody. Hello. So, this piece that I'm about to perform for you all, I actually did off top. It was a freestyle piece that I performed in Syracuse. So typically what I do is I like to read the room, and I tend to get my energy from the room, and then I'll create something that night. So this is kind of what happened that night in Syracuse, and there's kind of going to be an elevation to this tonight, because I'm going to start off with this piece, and then I'm going to share some more of the story with you all as I go along. All right, so bear with me. Where are my glasses? Somebody please tell me where are my glasses, because I got about 5 different pairs, so I really don't understand how I can't just find one right now. I'm struggling in this moment because I'm going through some things and I got a lot on my mind. I'm trying not to go crazy sometimes. When I get home, I lose my mind, but it's all right. Where are my glasses? I'm hungry. I need to go eat, so maybe I need to focus on that. One thing at a time, T. One thing at a time. But where are my glasses? I get lost in my zone because I'm always all alone. It doesn't make any sense to me that I cannot find my glasses. I put them in the same place every single day. I got about 5 pairs, so I really don't understand how I can't find one. What happened to me? Is it me that I'm losing? Have I lost me? Is that why I can't find my glasses? What happened to the power of perspective? If I change my lenses, then will I see things differently? Will I then see things clearly? I need help. So I'm here tonight offering a piece of myself to you because you are my help, my community, my love. You all are helping me to find my glasses. Now I've seen my lenses, my perspective has changed. You have given me a power. And for that, I thank you. Bless. So that night when I went to this poetry night in Syracuse, when I went to introduce myself, I introduced myself as my stage name is Yara, but I perform a lot. Mostly when I perform, it's a vocal performance because I also sing. And the person who was hosting that that night, Women Talk Patrice, shout out to Miss Patrice, she challenged me that night and she asked me if I was going to do a song. And I told her, I was like, no, I came prepared to do a poem. It's poetry night, I'm here to do poetry. I'm not here to sing, you know? So she challenged me that day to, and I told her, I was like, well, if I could get into it, then I'll try to come up with something. So I came up with something that blended a little bit of music and a little bit of poetry. So here we go, yeah. Love, a word that comes and goes. But the people who have it know that love really grows. And sometimes it has its ups and downs and no one really knows how the story goes. But you just know as long as you have love, everything will be all right. Oh, love. And even though sometimes the tears may fade away, you hope that the smiles and the tears of joy will stay. But the brightest morning always comes after the darkest night. So just as long as you hold on into each other tightly, and remember, you never know when the moment will come and you're called back to the king. So treat each other as kings and queens. Share your light, share your love. All right, and then my last one is the one that I prepared for tonight. So this morning, like I said, I'm not really one to sit down and actually write. I have to be in the zone. So when something comes to me, it's like, okay, I was sitting there thinking, like, what am I gonna do for this thing tonight? And then I was just thinking about my 2 previous pieces, and it was just like, oh, this kind of works together. And then even hearing some of the pieces that were presented tonight, it lets me know that my energy is, I'm right on the right path. All right. Is poetry not a song without a melody? But how can one say so when the punchline creates their own cadence and beat? Every word I speak has rhythm and blues. If you listen close enough, you'll feel the heartbeat to this groove. Stanza by stanza, line by line, I'm getting deeper in the music. Yeah, I feel the vibe. So next time you dare say poetry is not music, I simply dare say to you, think again. Thank you.
Poetry is definitely music. Poetry to me is the roots of a musical form. So, whew. Anyways, next up we have in line is Michael, Peterson, then Jasper, and then Tinashe. So, yeah.
So if you've ever been stuck, if you've ever been, you know, you're supposed to be doing something, work on a project, or you're supposed to be doing something else, a dream or something you're working on, and then you find yourself stuck, just nervous or whatever, stuck. And then it happens time and again, then you'll know where this poem is coming from. I'm fucking stuck. I'm in that rut again. Goddamn Instagram got me scrolling for hours. Like consuming what they're doing on my superpowers. Then I see myself and I catch my fall. This is not my purpose at all. Because the tears flow, because I know I'm an addict again, back at it again. Wipe those tears from my chin. I'm numbing out and I'm stuck, afraid of what's coming up. Emotions inside like, who am I? If I'm not obsessed with being blessed, then I'm obsessed with being less. My biggest regret of all is teaching my kids how to live small. So I am here to prove to myself I can write poetry, I can write lyrics, I can write songs and people want to hear it. Who am I not to be? Am I who I ought to be? And if you've ever been in a relationship for a long time and that relationship ends, and then you're alone on purpose to find yourself and to heal, but that distance, that time creates this hunger. This morning, I was driving in the car and it'd been around 10:30, I'd eaten breakfast and I was hungry, but I didn't want to stop and eat because I wanted to sit in that hunger. I wanted to feel it. I wanted to write. Because I knew it would be coming tonight, so this morning I wrote it, feeling that, and yearning for that next woman in my life, the next person. And so I wrote this. I hunger for you. I savor every dream and every thought, but dreams are full of have-nots. I hunger for you. My mouth has already tasted every curve of yours. My ears have already heard every delicious word of yours, every delicious sound. But sounds just fade away. Come, take this pain away. Stop hiding and come into view. Whatever hurt or fear that's binding you in reality is binding me too. I hunger for you. This last one is just starting, but those who sang, I wasn't going to do this, but again, another time, just being frustrated. For 20 years, I've just been writing and in notebooks and on the notes of my phone and documents, just writing. Just at some point I'll get to it. At some point I go back, this little hook, like in my own mind, I call myself like the hook master because I get all these hooks, good ideas, but never go back and finish them. I never write, so this leadership training I was in, and then this book I'm doing with Lorraine and Deb, The Artist's Way, it's a book that just goes through and helps try to find underneath, like what's blocking you creatively, what is it? No matter what creative style you do, it helps. So in being frustrated with myself, I also realized too that we are here, we're shining this light that comes through us, from God or the divine comes through us. And so it's that feeling of me just like on a year sitting on the sideline, just being frustrated with myself and not shining light, putting that light under a bushel, just waiting and waiting and waiting. And so I'm at the point in my life, I'm done waiting, so I'm creating this stuff and going into it. I'm a poet, I'm a songwriter, I'm an artist. Thank you. So I get to work on my vocal skills, so you'll bear with me. But you'll feel what I'm trying to say, and it's just 3 small parts. Again, just frustrated. I get the beat right. Fucking Michael, let the lights go. You don't have to hold them anymore. Fucking Michael, let the lights go. You don't have to hold them anymore, 'cause I'm not afraid of the darkness you hold inside. And I'm not afraid to take a stand for you every day.
Ooh, thank you for sharing. We have 5 more for the night. So, it's been such an amazing night. Thank you all for being here and sharing your pieces. Our next 5 is Jasper, Tinashe, Mike, then Julian, and then last but not least, Diane Berry. So, first up, Jasper.
So I've been writing poetry for a couple of years now, but I really started in earnest back when I was an undergrad. So I just want to start by saying thank you to my counselor, Mariashi Selmanovna. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be writing poetry ever, because she helped me find my voice. So this first one is one that I actually wrote in a workshop that she forced me to go to. So this is Cliff People. Wide open's window in Innsville's twilight, dark and heady, to cover the bedroom floor, perfumed in lavender, rose, copper, and bristle. Charlie's swimming in it now, his head floating over his body, of night laps where unsocked feet hang over bedside. The cover is like sweet mint grass on cliffs down Westway. Do you see the sky? Maroon lines threaded in a sheet of pitching sapphire. Do you see the white dot as she dives, dress billowing up and behind? Do you see what your sky god has done, pitching us from here to there, high to deep with a silvery hand? Charlie, do you see the rising tides as they pour over the pictures on your nightstand? Your eyes are still too starry, more jasmine and chamomile than anise and cinnamon. Your teeth not yet cut into rank and file daggers, but you will learn. Stitch your sinew back, head to shoulders. There's work to be done, my son, and I'm sorry, but we are not the kind who can dream at night. We have always been cliff people, high and deep. High and deep. Way, child, way and wail. Eat this. Let the juice drip down your chin. There's work to be done, my son. Wide opens window, and out we fly. Dive. High and deep. So this next one doesn't have a title. I was really on the fence about whether I was going to read it or not, but the vulnerability that other people have shown has encouraged me to. So this is, so I experienced delusions, which like the technical definition is just a very strongly held belief that cannot be shaken regardless of evidence presented to the contrary. So this is like, that's something that informs a lot of my art, and I'm gonna stop over explaining and just get into it. There is one thing that I have to ask as far as like, if we could do a little audience participation for this one. Yeah. Whenever I do hands out to y'all, I just need you to say the words pitter patter. You awaken age 7 or 8 in the middle of the night, blue screen and static, and the voice of God says, this is a test of the emergency alert system. And the voice of God says, there is a beast in your home, wearing human skin for clothing, stalking between wall and ceiling and crawl space, sharpening teeth on the thin shafts of moonlight, carving holes in the baseboard, and you look up from where you lay, catching a glimpse of green-white, tapetum lucidum, in the ceiling, under floorboards, all around you. Don't look outside. All eyes on you. Knows you're watching. Sounds like rat snails. Sounds like whispers. Sounds like retching. Tall and shambling. Reaching, grasping. Wide-eyed, wanting. Knife in hallway. Screaming, crying. Can't see it. to being on that one. Last one I got is just called Airplane Poem. I only saw your facing profile, outlined by the window in row 21, illuminated by the sunlight, takeoff and touchdown, and then the window hastily shut, unconcerned with the majesty of our trip above the clouds, only with the process of the iron beast, belly full of us as it broke from the planet's surface, and again with our return to its embrace, shuddering and roaring all the way. We will always be coming and going like this, young one. I pray you, like we all must, learn to cycle in the ebbs and flows of things like these.
Again, I am not Tabo. You can see. Nice. Next up we have Tinashe, and then Mike is right after.
I'm super nervous. I hate public speaking, but I'm gonna push past my fear, like everybody else in the room. This piece is called To My Younger Self. I just want you to know flowers bloom right in the places of your darkest gloom. I know the spark in your eyes died so long ago. I know how many times you wanted to let it all go. I know your faith in love, humility, humanity faded. Your life, you wish you could trade it, but you rose, the rose that grew from concrete. You learned to dance with your wounds, because they are what led you to your destiny. You were destined to rise from the ashes of your past. Thank you.
Sorry about that earlier. I had to take a little bathroom break. Next, we have Mike, then Julian, then we're going to end up with Diane. Give it up.
Normalcy. Once there was a very normal boy, so normal he was born in Normal, Illinois. He was born at a very normal time, Monday afternoon, 5:30. Normal every second he was alive. In fact, you might well say he was extraordinary normal. Normal to an abnormal degree, so normal that wherever he might be, he canceled out the magic. Anything supernatural, extra-dimensional, or even the divine, he muted just by being there. His very presence suppressed the sublime. So of course, he didn't believe in any of it. He could walk into a church, and while he stood there, there was no God in heaven. He could stumble past a pig and right, and the sky no longer glistened. He could see a UFO, and it was now just a hubcap in the sky. And when he was a very normal old man, when he died, man, he just died. He went down that white light tunnel, just like you or I. But within 40 feet of the pearly gates, St. Peter himself did dissipate. Only when his normal soul did finally evaporate did old St. Pete return, confused and irate. This very normal man, who'd been a very normal boy, the fellow born and raised in Normal, Illinois, he could see the wonderful things just the same, but only if they were scientifically explained. Yellowstone, the Canyon Grand, or a double rainbow high above, this normal man was able to fall in love because he understood it as a byproduct of pheromones and familiarity. Not holy magic as it is to you or me. He met a woman who owned a haunted house, but when he visited, it was just floorboards that creaked. He made her feel less scared in her own home. He made her feel like less a freak. And of course, their children rebelled. And his kids were pretty strange. They were the only abnormal. His normal could not change, but he was pretty happy. So, lived and died a normal boy. So normal, he was born in Normal, Illinois. So normal, his name was Norman Leroy. But don't be like him, my artistic brethren, because you gotta get weird if you want to go to heaven. Lifetime pass. It turns out we cannot live forever. But there is a next best possibility. The idea that we might get to live a life where we see so many wonderful things, where we do so very much, so very long, that we'll be so fully overstimulated, that we will be so goddamn tuckered out, that reaching the end won't be so bad. We'll be so overwhelmed. We will be so exhausted that resting will be okay. As if we have all been children at some big amusement park. All the twisty-turny roller coasters, all those foods and games and shows, the fireworks set to overtures, the long expected come to pass, the unexpected kicking our ass, putting our heads upon cool pillows in air-conditioned hotel rooms, souvenir dolls in our arms, the cold blue television glow, and our parents by our side. Time to just collapse, to stop, time to finally sleep in death. What wonders we will have seen! What challenges we've overcome, but so worn out completely, just so spent and done. Maybe if we're lucky, we'll get that second best. Maybe if we're lucky, we'll get well-deserved rest. And one more very short thing, thank you for your attention. There will be oil. The next big gold mine is selling inessential oils. Useless oils you buy and display just to prove you have the money to waste on meaningless oils. I don't even know what they'll be oils of, but they'll have to be totally useless oils, you see. Even peppermint oil can make cookies for the kids. Even dinosaur oil can make a car go to the beach. We will need totally meaningless oils to sell away in our newest multi-level marketed fantasias, in our tin foil-coated pyramid head scheme dreams. If it's worth anything other than bragging rights, no one puts hard-earned money down on useful anymore. The next big gold mine is selling inessential oils. To folks whose friendships we transactionalized, to strangers on the internet pleading for the meaning, the kind of meaning that can only come from proving they can afford to buy meaningless shit. The next big gold mine is selling inessential oils. For the same reason, there is almost no money in mining for gold. All the cash in the gold rush was made selling hookers and picks and shovels and whiskeys to idiots who were never going to find one single nugget. Not a flake, not a fleck, not a spot, not a speck. But they fell for the sales pitch anyway. The next big gold mine is selling inessential oils. But count me out. I think I'd rather just be broke, more honestly. So I think I'll just keep writing. There is no goddamn money in it, but at least it's mostly harmless. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike, for such an amazing performance. Wow. All right, we have two more performers. Julian, please come up, and then we have Diane. Like I said, towards the end, at the end, I do want all the poems, the poets and performers to come up on stage, and so we could take a big picture together. Thank you.
Hello? Hello. Hi. This one's called Herb Symbolism. Looking over my insect collection for my entomology class, I think about how many bodies have died in the name of science, how scientists have dissected certain insects to understand their lives in segments, how certain racial bodies have undergone scientific experimentation, and why. Why do I collect these corpses? Why do scientists collect this torture? Did you know that entomology was discovered not to learn how bumblebees buzz or butterflies flutter, but as a military strategy to exterminate unwanted pests, to destroy the smallest signs of life? Did you know that Hitler was inspired by the US Indian reservation system, that he forces medical experiments on bleeding bodies to understand human anatomy without human empathy, and there haunts the Western need to control nature, our bodies, our minds, to tame yourself, your own skin, your own hair? And scientists can draw these straight lines and straight boxes to try and identify, tame the curves of nature, but no microscope can teach me how to see a simple daisy in ultraviolet hues, like the tiny bumblebee does. And no diagram can contain the beauty of daylight kissing the fertile peaks of mountains, the rivers, the flowing sweat of the earth, the lava, her blood holding the heat of the sun as a gift. Is it like the way our hemoglobin stores oxygen? No, science cannot explain why her erotic nature and life makes Earth a heavenly body. Can't explain how indigenous people saw these lands before their colonization, how they knew that to come from the earth means that the earth comes from you, and that there is no need to control nature when you can work with nature, when you can love her in all her eco-erotic curves, touched by the passionate light of her sun, with the intimacy of a mother's hand. And as a biologist, I do pay attention to the syntax of things, but there is no hypothesis for denying human nature, for not embracing the earth as yourself. You are no golem in knowing that you were made of her dirt, born from her bosom. The earth, she is our Luca, our last universal common ancestor, and for her, I think there is no need for scientific evidence. For this next poem, I was gonna read this other poem, but all the Asian people left, except for Tabo. So I'm reading this other one. It's called Misrepresentation, and it's Asian, it's fun. To turn on the TV and never really see me, always a sidekick, always unappealing, always got me feeling that I wasn't enough, that the nerdy Asian kid could never be tough, never the karate kid, always Mr. Miyagi, wax on, wax off, this TV screen is still foggy. So when will my reflection show? Not as a minor character, but as a big hero. 6% of the US population, but 60% of the world. So where's my representation? Don't tell me that we don't belong on TV, that there's not enough of us for the main cast. Keep that shit in the past. That Chinatown background diversity is never going to last. The businessmen, the ninjas, the sushi chefs never speak a word like my people may be seen, but never heard. When they spoke up for equal pay on Hawaii 5-0, producers said they had to go, written off the show. Just replace Grace Park with Scarlett Johansson, get your hands in as you rub out and whitewash and bleach out the yellow stains in the fabric in the basket. Never reach out, never ask if I am dry or safe, if I feel out of place, if this accurately portrays my race. Hollywood should just let me do it. Historically, Asian men were always better at doing laundry. Then maybe I wouldn't shrink in the heat. Then maybe my skin wouldn't feel like a costume that fits on too tight. The TVs may be in color, but the shows seem black or white. My representation remains out of sight, out of mind. Yes, I am squinting to find eyes that look like mine. My own skin, so I feel like I fit in, constantly erased by the yellow-faced white assholes playing my roles. They say they didn't know that Asian Americans felt oppressed, and how could you? It is a mystery of the homogenized Orient, the model minority myth lost in translation from my reality to your television screen. I am out of sight and out of mind. The Hiroshima bombing becomes a textbook footnote. My own face does not belong to me, a white man's makeup. If seeing is believing, then how can I believe in myself? From what I have seen, I am a person to be erased. I think I watch too much TV.
top of the night, we have Diane here.
I'm probably going to be one person who cries up here tonight, so.
Go for it. It's okay.
I took care of my mom the last 4 years. She passed this year. And I wrote this poem for her 30 years ago. So, let's see if I can get through it. It's called Only One 10-Inch Plastic Pot. All others will be removed. Last year, I watched you get the ring Dad gave you, cut off at the jeweler's. You told me to come back. He told you to come back in for a resizing when the knuckles swelling went down. You smiled, letting me think you'd be back. This year, I watched you put the down payment on lot 342, section 1A. You tell me, it doesn't hurt to take care of this while we're here. Give me the cheapest you got, you tell the man, the $340 flush kind, so you can mow right over it. Pink. Granted, I always look good in pink. The clerk looks up from the numbered map, points out the window toward the miniature Pieta, tells us to hang a right near the wire basket. You pull alongside only one 10-inch plastic pot and leave the motor running, marching ahead of me on the uneven ground, waving your arms like you're on a tarmac directing aircraft. Lot 342, going in this direction. Guess I'll have to come to terms with my claustrophobia. Back home, you give me some of your jewelry, ask if there's anything else I want in the house, then hand me a 1-pound can of pitted black olives to take back with me on the plane. You don't want me to go hungry. Oh.
Thank you, Diane, for sharing such a powerful piece with us and being very personal with us. So Latia, I still have one more performer, my good friend, Jama Joseph.
I'm not a poet. I freestyle for fun, like I'm sure many of you guys do. But this morning, me and Tabo went on a hike, and he told me while we were listening to instrumentals, why not to try to put some words down and actually bring something to life. So here I am, stepping out of my comfort zone and taking a chance. I also view this as an opportunity to work on my public speaking, so here I am. I may not know poetry. Tonight I'm here to witness artistry. Some of these words might enlighten me to reach the higher me, to see the world from the highest peaks. With no expertise, I have no guarantees, but I've heard words can inspire the crash of hierarchies.
Thank you, Jama. Yeah, we took a hike this morning at Root Glen near Hamilton College, and we just started writing poems. But what a sigh of relief. Thank you to everyone that made this possible. I want to give a big shout out and thanks to Barb Kim. She wasn't able to make it, but please give her a round of applause. She did more than the words of I'm gonna be nice. Thank you to Bob, thank you to the lighting team, thank you to the videography team, thank you to Munson William for letting us host an event at such a beautiful place. I mean, look at the background. Come on. So yeah, I am planning on posting some of the videos for content purposes. I'll be reaching out to as many poets and performers as I can, just so I can get your permission. And if you guys don't want to be recorded or posted, please let me know. I'm not going to take it personal at all. I also want to thank the vendors. Lizzy Cupcakery, she wasn't able to make it, but they gave us free snacks and whatnot right over there, cookies, as well as the vendors, the coffee makers, the audience members, the family, the friends, but most importantly, the poets who make all of this possible, who makes the world go round. This is a night where we have witnessed so many different poetic styles, from spoken word, traditional poems, hip-hop, etc. But all in all, it is poetry, which is the roots of all forms of music. So I'm honored to be a part of such an event that tells the story of so many in such creative ways. So for more events, you can follow us on Instagram at Nomadic_Voices and Facebook at Nomadic Voices. Or sign up for our newsletters, which is right there, for more further events. But all in all, this is such an amazing night. Thank you all for being here. And yeah, I want all the poets to be right up here if possible. So, but yeah, all in all, have a beautiful, lovely night. Thank you for making it. Sure. Enjoy the night, y'all. Come on, poets.
You want like us to all like get up around? Yeah, some of us can be here, some of us can stay here. I'll probably stand in the back. I don't want to get in front of people's head. Well, thank you. Well, it helps. Oh, nice.
Poetry.